Oh, I've known Roger for a little over 35 years. We go back as couples 35 years ago. He and his late wife, Judy, and my husband, Raymond, uh, met a little over 35 years ago, became fast friends, um, belonged to the same circle of friends, basically, so we saw each other out and about quite often. Raymond and Roger, both graduates of Akron U and the College of Business. They both belong to the same fraternity, Yay Phi Delta, the great fraternity, great group of guys. And that's how we started out as couples, the four of us. And time went on. Roger and Judy lived in Bath, and Raymond and I lived here in West Akron. And then one day we decided to downsize, so we bought condo at Brookwood. And about a year later, Judy called me on the phone and she says, Sally, Roger and I have sold our home and we're moving to Brookwood. And I said, oh, that is wonderful. Whose unit did you buy? So she said, well, Chris and Dick Chenoweth's unit. And I said, really? I said, that's right across the street from us. So after they got done painting and moving furniture in, we got together, and it just so happened we're across the street from each other now. So we continue to see more and more of each other, which was a good relationship. It really was. And Judy, God bless her, she was in and out of little episodes of a wrenched neck or something, and she would need help. One day she called and she said, Roger's got a meeting today and I have to get my hair done. And she had this collar around her neck that kept her head straight, and she said, I can't drive. Roger would kill me if I drove. So could you take me to the beauty shop? I said, of course. So I picked her up and she said, you know, guys just don't understand this. So I said, I do. So delighted to help you out when I can. And then as time went on, then Judy became quite ill. And Roger came over to the house one day to tell Raymond and I. And we were deeply saddened, deeply saddened. So, of course, we offered our help where we could, when we could. And Roger would call me if he had to go out. He did cut back on his schedule, but sometimes he had to go out. So didn't want Judy to be alone, so he said, can you come and sit with Judy? And I said I'd be delighted to. So I did. And I let Judy carry the conversation. She was never gloomy, nothing. Always upbeat. So I was upbeat too for her. And then as time went on, she knew she had to go to hospice. And the van came to pick her up one day, and I saw the van out of my window, and I knew why they were here. And I thought, do I go over? And I thought, no, I shouldn't go over. 10 minutes went by, and I said, I'm going over. So I didn't want to go in the house because I knew this was a private time for Judy, and Roger, and Scott. So I stood in the driveway. And about 20 minutes later, then the attendants wheeled Judy out, and she was all wrapped up in a blanket and a little cocoon-like. And then she saw me, and her arms came out from under the blanket, and she reached for me, and I reached for her. And we hugged and kissed and had our little private moments. So I said, you're not alone. You're not leaving your home alone. I'm here with you. And she said, you are a good friend. And I said, as well as you've been to me. And so she went into the van, and Scott and Roger came out. So I said, I'm with you, and I'll always be with you. And I continued to see her until she passed. And I do miss her. Lovely, lovely lady. very warm, very caring. So then the following year, Raymond had a stroke, and I was able to keep him at home and take care of him, along with his 4 children and my 2 children. And Roger would call periodically, and he'd say, "What can I do for you?" And I said, "You know, the kids are in and out. There's plenty of people here." And he said, "Well, how about food? Let me get dinners for you." So I said, "Okay, I'll take you up on that. That'll be a big help." And it was. He said, "You just call the restaurant, order what you want, and I'll pick it up for you." And he did that over and over again. And then Raymond passed, and he was complications from the stroke, and he only lived 6 months after his first stroke. And time went on, and Roger and I'd see each other and wave, and then one day I was at the mailbox getting my mail, and Roger came out to get his mail. And he could tell I was having a bad day, and he just gently put his hand on my shoulder. He said, "Don't go back in the house and cry. Raymond wouldn't want you to do that, and I don't want you to do that." He said, "Go change your shoes, and we'll go for a walk." So that was 2.5 years ago, and we've been walking ever since. So that's how 35 years ago, friendship brings us up to today. And he's been so good to me and for me. I think we each took the other out of a dark spot, and dark spot is gone now, and just moving forward. It's all good, it's all bright. And I have this little pillow here that says the right thing. Too much of a good thing is simply wonderful. And Roger, you are a good thing. A lot of projects touch us basically in the same way, and when they do, you know that's where you want to be, that's where you want to help in some way. When you know something's good, you just go and do it. And just saying that, that's one of Roger's favorite comments. I'll often say, "That was so kind of you to do that," or "Why did you do that?" And he'd say, "I like the project, and you just do it, Sally. You just do it. You know that you can help, so why not?" So that's one of his favorite sentences, is "you just do it." And I've learned to do that too. I guess I have a soft spot in my heart when I see someone that really needs something, and I don't have time to think about it. So as Roger, I just do it too. Probably encouragement. When he meets someone and he's trying to get something out of them, he'll always question that person as, "Well, why are you interested in this?" Or, "Tell me about yourself, and how did you get where you are right now, and what more do you want?" He gets so excited with young people, and he wants to know everything about them, and he encourages them greatly. He's a great mentor. There are so many young people that have said to Roger after meeting him, not maybe once or several times, they all say, "I want to be Roger Reed." And he kind of takes his head back and he says, "Oh, I'm just old Raj, okay?" And they all look up to him for one reason or another. but Roger always has a smile on his face. He's kind. He's encouraging to the point where you want to kick him under the table and say, okay, enough's enough already. But he just goes on and on. He excites these young people, and that gives them the courage to go on. It's just, he's a comfort, and he's easy to be with, and that relaxes that person, and there's great communication then. It means home. It means family. It means community. It means Akron University. It means his fraternity. There's no other place that Roger would want to be than Akron. His whole heart is here. To me, personally, protective. He's extremely protective of me, right from the beginning and up to this day. He's very protective of me. And I'll never forget the first time he said this. He said, I want to be good for you. And he has been. Well, Roger, you are, when somebody congratulates you and they are looking to you for a good reason, for the good that you do, and you never take the full responsibility. You always said, oh, I'm just in the background helping. Well, that's beautiful, and it's kind, and it's generous of you to always say that. You never want the credit just for yourself. And that takes a big man to do that. And you are a big man, you're a good man, and I love you.
Hi, Papa. Congratulations on the big award. You really have deserved it. You've touched so many people's lives in a positive manner. And I'm just so incredibly thankful and blessed to call you my grandfather, and I love you for that. Papa, you've always made an incredibly huge impact in my life, being a huge role model for me and setting the example and really paving the way as to what it means to be a true grandfather and a great citizen, and showing me what it means to be a community man and touching so many people's lives in a positive manner. And I've really never seen anybody like it, and I'm just so unbelievably fortunate to have you as a grandfather.
Hi, Papa. Congratulations on the H. Peterberg Award. I know that means a great amount to you and our family. You've made an incredible impact on me and my life, and a couple of things that you've taught me is to always give back to the people who you're grateful for. I'm incredibly proud to call you my grandfather, and I have the last name of Reed, whether it's on the football field with the last name on my back, or one of my friends referring to me as Reed in the hallway or at lunch. Once again, congratulations to you and our whole family for the award.
So many things. When I met Roger, I was new to town, and he asked me to go to a place called the Akron Rotary so I could get involved in the community. And through being involved in the Akron Rotary and watching all the things that Akron and Roger were leading and involved in really caused me to want to get involved in and get invested in our community. Right? So the magic of Roger, right, is that he shows you what should be done. Right? He shows you how hard to work, what it takes, the persistence, the level of effort, the level of thought, the level of planning, the level and degree of execution, right? He just goes out and shows you. And then he introduces you to everybody. When he knows that you have that capability and that talent, he introduces you to everybody, because what he wants is people to grow by association. He wants 1 and 1 to equal 20. And he feels that if he identifies talented people, and if he mentors and he shapes and he guides them, and then he shows them what to do, how to do it, and the effort and impact that it can make, and then he introduces those people to each other, he believes that the impact of that will be exponential. And he's always right. Roger never tells anybody what he's doing, but he always has a plan. And he rarely, if ever, lets anybody know what that plan is. He just goes out and he executes. And he gets you involved like a little chess piece, and then he moves you around in what he wants you to do and how he wants you to do it without ever telling you what you're going to do or how you're going to do it. And then all of a sudden you come to this magical place called success or achievement or raising $150,000 for a charity that you had no idea how you're going to raise $10 for. And you just get to the end, and it's like a magical path that has been conceived for you. Roger's like a mother bird. He nurtures you, he guides you, he comforts you, and then one day he puts you on a limb and he pushes you out to fly. And he watches you fly. And you don't think you could do it, but he knows you could do it. And then he watches you do it. And then what's amazing about Roger is he just lets you be. And he just goes about watching you do what you're going to do professionally, personally, and philanthropically. And then every now and then he'll check in, just see how you're doing, what you're doing, and whether you need any help. And it's a really unbelievable relationship. Roger has impacted so many organizations and people in town. Frankly, I doubt there's a person he hasn't touched. When you think about the commercial side, he's been on the boards of Harwick Chemical Company and led that organization, Smithers Scientific, Huntington National Bank, significant growing organizations in town that are just investing. And then on the not-for-profit side, there are probably hundreds, everyone from Project Grad to the Akron Urban League to United Way, SUMA, the Battered Women's Shelter, Julia Billiard School, and on and on and on and on. I have watched Roger in the 20-some years I've been in town reach out to, engage, and impact almost every organization you can imagine. And he helped be the catalyst for starting the incredible renovation and reinvigoration that was the Akron Rotary Camp. Roger has impacted so many people and organizations, personally, professionally, and philanthropically. It all started with commerce. He led Harwick Chemical Company and then served on the boards of Smithers Scientific and Huntington National Bank. Philanthropically, Roger has impacted hundreds of organizations, if not thousands, like organizations like Project Grad, Julie Billiard School, the Akron Rotary Camp for Children with Special Needs, the Battered Women's Shelter, the University of Akron and specifically its business school, SUMA Health Systems, Boys and Girls Clubs, the United Way, Torchbearers and Leadership Akron, the Summit County Metro Parks, the Akron Canton Food Bank, Stan Hewitt Hall, Akron Children's Hospital, Archbishop Hoban High School, and of course, Bath Church and the Bath Community Fund. Roger decided that, leading by example, he was going to do what he does, right? So he went out and found a class of 5 or 7 young men that he was going to mentor from the University of Akron, right? Well, for that year, he looked like literally a mother duck, and all her ducklings were imprinting because everywhere he'd go, he'd have 5 to 7 little ducklings following behind him and introducing them to everybody at every event where he ever went. And I just have to tell you, it was the funniest thing. And now every time I see him, I ask him how his ducklings are. My favorite Roger story is typically Roger. So Akron Rotary Camp was getting ready to go on a very ambitious $4.5 million capital campaign to renovate their facilities and really become a world-class place for people and individuals with special needs. And they sent me to go meet with Roger. Now, we had a lot of high-profile members and a lot of very important people, but they sent me. And so I went with Roger, I called him, and I said, hey, could we go and talk about something? So he invited me to the Martin Center, and he took me to the basement for a beer. Now, I've never had a beer with Roger, except for that one time, but it was a remarkable experience. He asked me how things were going. He just wanted to know about me, and then he asked me what we were there to talk about. Well, I laid out this very ambitious plan, and I asked him what he thought. And he challenged me, and he complimented me, and then he complimented us. And then he made a very significant stimulus gift that launched us into the stratosphere and was responsible for one of the greatest transformations in the history of philanthropy, and now literally impacts thousands of families, parents, and children every year. And I can't thank you enough for that, Roger. My favorite Roger Reed story. So Roger, everybody knows Roger's a mentor, right? And year after year after year, he picks 5 to 7 young men at the University of Akron that he is going to train to be Roger. And it is so funny every time I go to the Simon Eddy Awards or I go to a community event and I see these 5 to 7 little ducklings just following Roger around. And then I watch Roger go to all of his contacts, introduce each and every one of them to those people. And it is so funny for me and everyone else that knows Roger to see him imprinting his little ducks behind him. At Roger's heart, he's an investor. He invests in people, he invests in places, and he invests in things. And when he takes you under his wing and he decides he's going to mentor you, it never stops because no one ever stops watching their investments. So every now and then, he'll be somewhere you are. Or every now and then, he'll invite you out for a beer. Or every now and then, he'll just check in to see how you're doing. And if he hears something in the community, and if there's any cause or concern, you can make sure you're going to get a call from good old Roger. Thank you, Roger. Thank you for investing in me, in us, and in Akron. There is no one more deserving than this award than you. Never stop being you, because you are exactly what all of us need.